So now we're here to tackle the sequel to an amazing game. So, how does this one fare in comparison? Pretty good, I'll say.
It has been 6 months since the destruction of Sigma and little has changed. The Maverick revolt started by Sigma is over, but Mega Man X and the new generation of Maverick hunters have yet to destroy all of Sigma's followers. Led by information gained by Dr. Kane, Mega Man X and the rest of the Maverick hunters tracked the last of the Mavericks to an abandoned Reploid factory. There they hope to wipe out the last of the resistance. Little do they suspect that real war is about to begin.
This is the Mississippi King, welcoming y'all back to my next LP. Let's play Mega Man X2. And in this game, we're facing off against new foes. So yes, that's right. Now that we're done with Mega Man X, I figured I'd move on straight to Mega Man X2. Before you start the game though, I would recommend a few things. I just wanted to let the title theme play, cause it's pretty good. That's one thing that I do like about this game, the music is pretty good. The music to the opening cinematic is fantastic, and the music to the opening stage is amazing as well. I just love this game's soundtrack. That's the control settings that I prefer. I prefer to, set that up so that that's my control settings, but I already did that off screen. So of course, we ride in on Ride Chasers. That's the new vehicle that they introduced in Mega Man X2. No, not Green Biker, dude, anyone but him. Okay, that's it. I'm going to massacre every single robot in this factory. It can kill Zero all they want. But harming Green Biker, dude, that one-time nameless character, that's crossing the line. And they are going to suffer for it. Zero, he can go away for all I care, but that Green Biker, dude, that's where it's at. That's the real hero of this story. Look at this! You can dash at the start of the game! This is how you do an intro stage. This is awesome! It sets up all of the basics that you need to know in such a shorter amount of time than the original. People can say what they will about the first game's intro stage. I think this is much better, because it does all that it needs to do. Anyway, this boss, by the way, is very easy. It's called the Gigantic Mechaniloid CF0, as the info card will no doubt say. It's ridiculously easy, I find. I don't get why people say this game has a lackluster soundtrack. I mean, sure, not every piece is a hit, but so what? Not every piece was a hit in the last game, too. And I think that this soundtrack has some music that really pumps you up for a fight. This is their leader. His name is Mega Man X.
Those who underestimated him are nothing now but scrap.
We won't make the same mistake this time. He is powerful, but he is blind to what is happening around him.
Our Mavericks will keep him busy until we are ready.
Yes, how is the plan proceeding?
Collection is proceeding as scheduled. However, we are having problems with the control chip.
We have little time. We must finish construction on schedule. We must hurry. So yeah, that's it. That's the introduction, and out of the blue, 8 new Mavericks all of a sudden. That's I'm not sure how that happened, but anyway, we have Wire Sponge, Morph Moth, Flame Stag, Magna Centipede, Overdrive Ostrich, Bubble Crab, Wheel Gator, and Crystal Snail. So I'm actually going to be tackling Wheel Gator first, because he has a part that I really like to have as early as possible. I mean, I don't know that I'll actually be able to get it, because that is a little tricky. Anyway, what are Mechaniloids? I should probably explain that. They're basically like Reploids, except they have less than human intelligence. They're just designed for simple tasks, and they have very simple programming, and they're not capable of free thought. They're basically just like modern robots, created with very specific purposes in mind. They're often not humanoid, although the term seems to refer to their actual intelligence level and not their design, because the previous guy that we fought, that was, of course, a Mechaniloid, but it was also humanoid. And this part, this freaking jump, is the bane of my existence. It is like pixel perfect. And in addition to having to make like some sort of pixel perfect jump, you also need the patience of a god. And also the timing of a god in order to get that. That is possible to get to that particular place. I'm actually tackling Wheel Gator's stage first so that I can get the spin wheel, which in addition to being a decent weapon is also necessary to get one of the armor parts, actually multiple ones. And now I'm failing some basic jumps like that. That is humiliation. So new ride armor, of course. This one has spikes in it, and you can actually hold down the button to, like, charge up a super attack, and you can hover for short periods of time. That's pretty cool. This game just has so much better pacing than its predecessor. I realize that may be controversial, but that's just what I think. I legitimately love this game's pacing. The intro stage, though it's not as iconic as the first games, I think is much better because it conveys the essentials in such a short span of time. And also, it's nice having the dash right off the start. It means that the early game isn't a slog to get through. You can just blaze through it all the time. I mean, like, I know it sounds like I've been praising this game a lot, and well, there is a lot to love about this game. I don't know if it holds up as well as its predecessor. However, when it comes to things like that, it's really nice to have the dash as a default set of your moves. That is a much welcome change, and yeah, I wish it were the case in the original, because this just improves the flow of the intro stage and the rest of the game so much. Once again, this game allows you to use your agility as a weapon, and that is awesome. Now, y'all may be wondering why it looks like dusk outside of the stage in Wheel Gator's stage. And to that I say, Wheel Gator's stage actually has a very interesting feature, a day-night cycle. Yes, that's actually kind of interesting. You see, if I had taken longer back there, then it would have been night when I came out to the outside of the stage, but if I had not taken so long, it would have been daytime. So of course, now it's dusk. So that's actually kind of unique. It's not something you see a lot in the series. That's a pretty cool stage effect if you ask me, and it's not one that we'll be seeing again, at least not that I can think of. In Japan, Wheel Gator is known as Wheel Alligates. funny. I don't know why, I just find that really funny. It's like, he's this big, scary killing machine, and he's like so deadly and whatnot, and yet they give him such a funny nickname. Like, it sounds like some sort of ridiculous nickname. Wheel Alligator sounds like some child's nickname of him, like, hey Alligator, how's it going? It's just so hilariously out of place. I love it. That's like calling a snake Cuddles or Buttercup, or like calling a spider Fuzzy. I just love how weird and out of place it is. That name is just fantastic. I'm not sure why they went with a name that ends up making him sound so unintimidating, but he is actually a very easy boss, as you may expect. He is not a challenge, as y'all can see. That was without any energy tanks, heart tanks, or the armor upgrade. Info cards, of course, are back, as y'all have seen at this point. Of course, they're actually very similar to before, because I was actually kind of wrong about a couple things. For starters, most games feature Mavericks with the subtitles. All of the following games, except for, like, I think Mega Man X6, all feature Mavericks with subtitles to their name. I've decided to keep the large text box because they're not very intrusive or big. At least not from now on, because the info boxes will be pretty short at this point, and in future games as well. That right there, that room that is here in Overdrive Ostrich's stage, that's a bit interesting. I'll explain what that is later, but for now, y'all will just kind of have to ignore it, because it actually is something that I'll be showing off more in depth later and explaining what it's all about. And as I was saying about info cards, height and weight information is back for Mega Man X2. However, I wasn't actually able to trace the source. To be clear, the height and weight information for Mega Man X2's Mavericks, they all come from the Mega Man wiki, so y'all can check them out to show that, in fact, I am not making any of this information up. Okay, I'm not sure whether the height and weight information is accurate from the Mega Man wiki, because I haven't actually been able to trace their sources. So of course, Overdrive Ostrich's stage features the Ride Chaser. It's a vehicle that you can actually pilot, and it's very cool. I like it. It's kind of a shame that it's so underutilized, that, like, it's just not very interesting, at least not quite as interesting in other games, because I would have liked to see it used more in its Mega Man X2 style. Also, one thing about Overdrive Ostrich, its Japanese name is Sonic Ostrich. Sonic Ostrich. I'm serious, that is a very strange name. I'm not sure what's up with that. It's just kind of weird what these Japanese names are. Some of them are funny. Wheel Alligator is an example. I'm not sure this game is as good as its predecessor, but it's like, I also don't agree with most people's assessment that it's just alright, that, like, it's bad or whatnot, because it's like, really? I just don't see that. And I'll go into more in-depth why I think that later, But for now, we have to just talk about the stage itself. Okay, now can I stop crashing the ride chaser? Seriously, I say something good about this thing and then it's as if they're trying to prove me wrong, and I end up making a complete fool of myself. It's ridiculous, I say. There we go! And there's actually a hard tank in a spiky pit, and it's actually possible to get that without dying, but it requires some pretty specific turning in order to do that, so it's like, I don't know that I've ever gotten it without dying before. But now we get to the real reason I tackled Wheel Gator's stage first.
Mega Man X, enter the capsule. This enhancement will modify your main drive unit. With it, you will be able to dash while in midair. Use it wisely, Mega Man X.
The air dash. So this is quite an improvement because now you can dash while in midair. That is an awesome feature, I love that. And once again, this increases the abilities you have at your disposal that allow you to use agility as a weapon. That's what I mean about this game capitalizing on the ability to use agility as a weapon. It's very awesome. This right here, Overdrive Ostrich's arena, is very unique. It's actually outdoors, and you don't access it the way most arenas in the series are accessed. The air dash becomes a standard either with future capsules or as just straight up a default ability you have. This is awesome, and I really can't imagine playing the series without it. It makes going back to the first game kind of awkward. Another thing about dashing that this game standardizes is that now, whenever you hold down the button, that actually allows you to dash off of walls, whereas in the previous game, it instead didn't. You had to press the dash and jump button at the same time, which was really disorienting having to go back to that and having to get used to that. But after we defeat Overdrive Ostrich, we'll be introduced to the X-Hunters. And say it with me now, in Japan, they're known as the Counter Hunters. Seriously, I have a bad habit of saying that too much. One major problem people have with the X-Hunters is that they quote-unquote force you to take a route other than the one you would want to take, and to that all I have to say is...
What? No!
Like, seriously, I don't even know where that comes from. It's such a strange criticism. I see now why Sigma fell at the hands of Mega Man X. He is quite formidable.
I am not sure our Mavericks can hold him long enough. We may have to intervene.
We're also introduced to Dr. Kane, or rather, we see him in person. Dr. Kane, what happened?
A group of Mavericks calling themselves the X-Hunters have just contacted us. Greetings, we have all of Zero's parts. They can't be yours if you can defeat us.
We look forward to meeting you, X.
X-Zero's control chip is still here. I doubt it is possible to resurrect him without it.
Dr. Kane, I've got to get Zero's parts back at any cost. So yes, the X-Hunters, Now, I'll talk more about them in detail, but that room back in Overdrive Ostrich's stage, that's the location that you'd Vital 1 if they showed up in Overdrive Ostrich's stage. Basically, they randomly select from 3 non-defeated Mavericks, and a lot of people have issues with that, but I can't really talk about that at the moment. So, we're returning to Wheel Gator's stage before we end the video, because there's one thing that I want to get. The reason that I took on Wheel Gator first is because it's the fastest route to get the air dash, because in order to get it, you need Wheel Gator's weapon. So this part right here is actually accessible without the air dash or Wire Sponge's ability, but it's a bit tricky.
Mega Man X, enter the capsule. This enhancement will modify your X-Buster. With it, you will be able to charge energy in both arms at once. This enables you to shoot a double shot or to charge any weapon.
So this is another awesome thing. The charge shot works differently from how it did in the first game. Instead of charging up to a 3rd level, you instead charge it so that you get 2 distinct charge shots. That's pretty cool. And of course you can charge any weapon, which that pretty much just saves the Sonic Slicer for me. I can't really stand it that much without it. And when you enter a stage and then exit it, the X-Hunter positions are reset. So you can use that to your advantage to move them to different locations. But this is the Mississippi King signing out, and in the next episode, we'll tackle more of the game, folks, and take on some of the X-Hunters. See y'all then.